It's night 12 in the game, and Tatakai just voted out Nylene. Avery Lee and Bane talk about the result and that Zonathan is now the next easy vote if they were to lose another immunity. Avery Lee hopes it doesn't come to it because she feels very connected to him and would like to rope him into their alliance. Bane doesn't see this as a bad idea but claims she'll really need to work on him so he doesn't flip back to Reibu in Merge. Later in the night, Zonathan does his best to connect with Bane after losing his closest ally at the last tribal council. He knows Bane is the glue between Antonio and Avery Lee, so his best chance at survival is to appeal to him. He tells Bane he's not hurt by anyone from the last vote because it was clear from the start that Bane and Antonio weren't voting each other out, and himself and Nylene were not voting each other out. Bane says he doesn't have anything against him and would really love for all four of them to make Merge. Zonathan says that's his goal as well and will push himself to his limits in order for them to win more challenges. Zonathan eventually talks with Antonio as well, pitching the same thing he said to Bane. He tells Antonio he isn't targeting anyone on this tribe and is mostly focused on creating a cohesive group that will stick together in the Merge, and he feels like the two of them, Bane and Avery Lee, would make a great four. Antonio says he is definitely down for that because numbers in Merge are important. Day 13 arrives, and it's time for the next reward challenge. Tabru and Reibu find out that Nylene was voted out last tribal council, and the triangles consisting of Iran, Michaela, and Nicola are fairly sad regarding the outcome. Justin asks Michaela if she feels a certain way seeing an ex-Reibu go home, and she says Nylene was a great person to be around, so losing her this soon in the game simply hurts on a personal level. She says the game goes on however. Justin says that's correct, and begins explaining their reward challenge. In this, they will face off 1 versus 1 to shape a bonsai tree. To gain a point for the tribe, the shaper needs to create a shape with the bonsai tree. If they do not succeed, they do not gain a point for the tribe. The first tribe to gain 4 points will win reward, and today, the tribes are playing for sports equipment. A treadmill and weightlifting machine are the two pieces of equipment that will be at the winning tribe's camp. Of course, Tabru is fired up, mainly Cindy and Marvin. Justin asks Tabru to sit a member out, and they choose Annette. Justin then asks Reibu to sit someone, and they pick Clarence. With that, round 1 commences with Avery Lee, Michaela, and Cindy facing off. After shaping their trees, Michaela is the only person to create a proper shape, meaning Reibu scores their first point. In round 2, Antonio, Nicola, and Marvin face off. In the end, Nicola and Antonio score a point for their tribes. Bane, Caleb, and once again Cindy head up for round 3. Thanks to Cindy's confidence this time around, she gets a point this time for Tabru, and Bane gets a point for Tatakai. This means the score is 2 points Reibu, 2 points Tatakai, and 1 point Tabru. In round 4, Avery Lee and Nicola head up again for their tribes while Orneal heads up for his first attempt. However, none of them score a point and the scores remain the same. In round 5, Antonio, Caleb, and Marvin compete, and all 3 end up shaping their trees properly, meaning they all score. Reibu and Tatakai require 1 more point each, while Tabru still needs 2. In round 6, Zonathan, Nicola, and Orneal head up for their tribes. Orneal is the sole person to score, making all 3 tribes tied 3 points each. In round 7, Avery Lee, Iran, and Cindy all head up and none of them end up scoring. In round 8, Bane, Michaela, and Marvin head up for their tribes. Bane is the only one to score the point for their tribe, meaning Tatakai wins reward in the form of gym equipment. All 4 of them laugh and are mainly glad they can keep the equipment away from Tabru. For the most part, none of the 4 are even that interested in using the equipment. Justin then sends all 3 tribes back to their camps. Back at Tatakai, Avery Lee, Antonio, and Bane talk about how clutch Bane was at the very end of the challenge. Bane said he channeled in his inner calm beast because he did not want the gym equipment anywhere near Tabru, as they would be physically prepared for future challenges, including merge challenges. Antonio then asks the both of them if they trust Zonathan at the moment since he approached him last night. Bane says he had a similar conversation with him and found it fairly genuine. Avery Lee tells them she's glad they were able to bond with him because she sees him as a great ally going forward. All three agree though that if they end up losing tomorrow's immunity, he will have to be the next to go. On Tabru, Cindy, Sierra, and Annette discuss Nyleen's elimination. Cindy feels like Antonio, Bane, and Avery Lee are making it clear that Reibu really is the prime target in the game. Annette feels like if they end up losing immunity, they have an easy shot at Orniel. He's not very sociable and doesn't offer anything to them. Sierra agrees and says there's no way they would benefit from cutting each other. Night 13 approaches, and Orniel has a chat with Marvin. Orniel admits he doesn't know where he exactly stands right now. Marvin claims that Annette is the likely target if they head to Tribal Council, but Orniel says he doesn't find this to be true. He senses that the women on their tribe are a trio, so he feels like the two of them are in danger. Marvin tries to shut down that idea of it being a 3 against 2 and tells Orniel that it's truly 4 of them against Annette. Orniel shrugs and says he won't think about it too much until they have to go to Tribal. Soon after, Marvin meets up with Sierra and discusses Orniel's concerns that the women are together, leaving the two guys on the outs. He warns her Orniel is catching on that he's on the outs at the moment. Sierra says there's nothing much they can do right now. If they head to Tribal Council, they have a clear shot at time. He's a Reibu member after all. On Reibu, Caleb, Nicola, and Clarence chat together. Caleb tries to find out whether Nicola is loyal to the women or not, so he asks her if she's thinking about flipping on them right now. Nicola says she really doesn't see herself taking them out and is honest about her close bond with them. Clarence says that Michaela has agreed to vote Iran out potentially if they go to Tribal tomorrow. He also adds that Michaela put in a good word for Nicola, so they were thinking of creating a new fort that only excludes Iran. Nicola says she'll have to sleep on it and speak with Michaela before she makes anything official since she is still feeling everything out right now. Later on, Caleb finds Michaela and warns her that him and Clarence told Nicola about their potential plan to vote Iran out and work as a 4. Michaela says she'll need to have a one-on-one with Nicola and then also communicate with Iran here and there so nothing seems suspicious. Caleb says this is great and says Nicola will talk to her eventually about this plan. Michaela, Iran, and Nicola eventually meet up together, and it becomes no secret to Iran that the guys are after her. Michaela spills everything Caleb and Clarence have been strategizing about with her and Nicola. Nicola nods and says this is true. Iran says she's glad they told her as it's showing how powerful their trio is. Michaela says she'd never flip on her, and Nicola tags along to that statement. Iran asks them who they believe is the bigger threat between those two guys, and Nicola instantly says Caleb is coming off as the brains while Clarence does more of the talking. Michaela agrees and says that she has been growing much closer to Clarence lately and hasn't trusted Caleb too much. Day 14 arrives, meaning it's time for the immunity challenge. In this, there are 3 stages that must be completed in order. In stage 1, 2 members will need to pass a ping-pong ball to each other a total of 20 times. After they finish, 1 other member will then work on carving wood to create a horse sculpture. Once they finish the sculpture properly, the final member of the tribe will need to finish a block tower puzzle by using instructions provided to create the build. The first 2 tribes to finish their puzzle will win immunity, sending the losing tribe to Tribal Council where someone will become the 8th person voted out of the game. Justin then asks for Tabru and Reibu to sit someone out each, and the 2 end up being Sierra for Tabru and Nicola for Reibu. The challenge begins, and the pairs hitting the ping-pong balls are Marvin and Annette, Zonathan and Bane, and Michaela and Caleb. Michaela and Caleb immediately lose some valuable time as Michaela asks to switch sides with him as she cannot see a single thing from the sun going directly into her eyes. Meanwhile, Tatakai and Tabra pass their ball 5 times each. Michaela finally serves the ball for Rebu, meaning her and Caleb are finally earning points. At the 14-point mark, Marvin misses the ball passed by Annette, so he quickly tries to pick it back up. Tatakai is at 16 points while Rebu is slowly catching up to Marvin and Annette with 11 points. Tatakai finally gets 20 points without dropping a single time, so their woodcarver Avery Lee begins carving her wood. Rebu and Tabru are currently at 15 points each. Then, in a coincidental circumstance, both Tabru and Rebu drop their ball at 19 points. However, they do not lose too much time as they quickly reserve their ping-pong balls and both get to 20 points. This means Iran is carving the wood for Rebu, while Warniel is carving the wood for Tabru. After some time of carving the horse sculptures, Warniel manages to finish the carving first, meaning Tabru has caught the lead now. Cindy then begins the puzzle for Tabru, referring to her instruction manual for help. Iran then finishes carving her wood, and Avery Lee is right behind as the last person to finish carving. Clarence and Antonio then begin working on their puzzles for their tribes. All 3 are tied up right now, meaning anyone can win. Cindy has a bit of a lead, while Antonio is a bit ahead of Clarence. In the end, Cindy wins first immunity for Tabru as she finishes up the puzzle. This leaves Clarence and Antonio fighting for immunity, and after a bit of time, Antonio finishes his puzzle, meaning Tabru and Tatakai win immunity, sending Rebu to Tribal Council tonight where someone will become the 8th person voted out of the game. With that, all 3 tribes head back to camp. Rebu arrives to camp, and Michaela, Nicola, and Clarence have a short chat. Clarence asks them if they are on board tonight to vote Iran, but Nicola says they are extremely unsure about Caleb right now. Clarence tells them they are better off keeping Caleb so they can then work with Tatakai in the merge. Michaela says it's too late because it's clear Tabru and Tatakai are working together. Clarence says he's 100% not working with Tabru, and he trusts Caleb a lot. Michaela and Nicola leave Clarence with the information that they are still voting Caleb. Later, Michaela and Iran confirm with each other that Caleb is the one going. Iran hopes he doesn't have an idol, and wonders if they should throw a vote on Clarence. Michaela says that she's personally not comfortable throwing a vote on Clarence, but she doesn't mind if one is thrown by someone else. Iran says she might be the one who does it, but is also fairly worried about doing it at the same time in the case something happens tonight, like an advantage getting played to screw up their vote count. Caleb later realizes he hasn't been able to chat with anyone alone as everyone has been grouped up, so he decides to join the other 4 as they are all together at the moment. All 5 members stand together and experience some awkward silences. Caleb asks if it's truly Rebu against him and Clarence tonight, and nobody responds. Nicola says it's a hard vote for everyone because they are such a small group, so nobody feels like talking about it right now. Iran then leaves the 4 of them to get some water for everyone at the well. This gives Caleb the opportunity to talk with Nicola, Michaela, and Clarence. He begs them to vote for Iran tonight because he'll definitely remember this moment of them saving him, and he will talk to Sierra, Marvin, and Avery Lee in merge to vote with Rebu to take out Cindy, Annette, Bane, Antonio, and even Orniel if they truly don't trust him anymore. Michaela says she'll privately talk with Nicola about it and consider this again. Clarence says he's most definitely down to vote Iran because she hasn't put much effort into talking with him. With that, they all split up, and night slowly approaches. It's night 14, which means it's time for Tribal Council for Rebu. All 5 sit down and Justin asks Caleb how it feels to be the sole Tatakai entering Rebu in the swap. Caleb says he surely felt nervous because him and Clarence came onto this tribe alone, while the other 3 women came in together. Justin asks Michaela if the three of them are truly sticking together since they are original Reibu members, and Michaela says they will undoubtedly stay loyal. Aaron brings up a point that the reason they have gotten so strong lately as a three is because they witnessed Nylene get eliminated a few days ago. That really showed them that Tabru and Tatakai were joining forces to take out Reibu. Caleb then says he doesn't know what's going on with the other two tribes, but he never recalled anyone talking about joining forces with Tabru. He thought they were entering swap with an open mind. At least that's how he feels. Justin asks Nicola if there's any chance for an original Reibu member to go home tonight, or if it's clearly Caleb or Clarence tonight. Nicola says she can't speak for her tribe because every individual knows what they are doing tonight. Even so, a majority doesn't always get their way because idols are part of the game to screw up voting blocks. Justin then wraps up the discussion and lets everyone know it's time to vote. Let's see how tribal turns out now.
I'll tally the votes. If anyone has a hidden immunity idol and they want to play it, now would be the time to do so. Alright, I'll read the votes. First vote. Aaron. Caleb. That's one vote Aaron, one vote Caleb. Aaron. Two votes Aaron, one vote Caleb. Caleb. We're tied, 2 votes Aaron, 2 votes Caleb, 1 vote left. 8th person voted out of Survivor Japan. Caleb.
Caleb sighs and gets up to grab his torch. Aaron quietly breathes out and looks at Nicola and smiles. Michaela looks at Clarence and sighs, showing that she's sorry. Caleb places his torch next to Justin and they all watch it get snuffed. Caleb heads out and everyone says goodbye to him. Justin then lets the rest of the tribe know they can head back to camp. Next time on Survivor Japan. With Caleb out of the game, Clarence continues to stay on Michaela's good side as they bond closely on a personal level. However, once Tabru and Tatakai find out Caleb was voted out, there aren't that many happy people. Plus, with only one immunity statue on the line, 2 tribes head to tribal council as a conjoined group and will vote one person out of the game together. Which 2 tribes will go to tribal council, and will original Reibu members be in danger, or will the power shift? Find out on Sunday. Caleb's final thoughts. Caleb isn't too surprised that the girls ended up sticking together. It was tough to break them apart as they knew each other since day 1 while he met them on day 10. Caleb wishes he got to continue playing with Sierra because she was his #1 ally and the two of them worked well together while also having fun. He's deeply saddened by the fact that he missed the merge, but will keep his head high.